I would like to show my respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which these interviews take place. I would also like to respectfully acknowledge the Wangal people, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which I live and work. Hi, I'm Prema, the host of this podcast, What Can We Do? I started this podcast in 2019 because I was feeling overwhelmed and anxious about issues affecting communities. There's so much going on in this world, so much to address, so much to fix. Where's the best place to start? Here. In each episode, I speak to someone or an organization that's making impact. You will learn about the issue, why it exists, the challenges, but most importantly, how you can be a part of the solution. My hope is that you can take away 2 to 3 tips each episode that will support you in your helping journey. Today, I have with me Ansary Muhammed. Hi, Ansary, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Prema?
Good. So perhaps you could introduce yourself and the work you do with Merciful Servants.
I'm Ansary from Merciful Servants. So basically, we are actually an organization that feed people on the street. So before we used to do twice a week. Now we're actually doing 5 times a week. So it's been ongoing for 12 months, 600 hot meals every week. We don't just provide hot meals, we also provide hampers, also providing clothing, shoes, everything. I mean, we do also hairdressing every 6 weeks. So we have amazing organizations joining us different weeks. So we don't work alone, we actually work with different teams.
Where do you do this work?
So at the moment, we're doing Brisbane City, Gold Coast, Inala, Beenleigh, and Woodridge.
What motivated you to start Merciful Servants?
I have a friend that actually introduced me to this program. This was 8 years ago. He used to make 10 meals, I used to make 10 meals, and we used to go out on the street, distribute these meals out. We used to do 20 meals a week, and then from there we grew up to 80 meals, and then it just kept growing, and it's let's keep going, let's keep doing the good stuff. And then we had more people joining, more volunteers. We got up to 150 volunteers at the moment.
Wow, that's a big operation.
And we're also doing try to give initiative to others, youngsters, our youth, giving them the leadership role, so they're actually standing on their feet.
What got you interested in helping out this week?
For me, I come from a very poor family, and we struggled, and I lost my father when I was 10, and my mum raised us, and just, hardship we went through, and a lot of our community helped us. And this is for me giving back, and it just makes me feel good that people were there for us, and I want to be there for them as well.
You said it's now grown to 150 volunteers. Was it easy to get people on board? I imagine it must have been.
We actually did a lot ourselves from the start, and then with people seeing us and they're wanting to join, and then once they actually do volunteer with us and they just feel connected like we did, and then from the word, spreading out, I should volunteer with Merciful Servants. When we started, I remember we did the hard yard. We have to be there every time, every week, every single run. Now I'm actually doing once a week, and it just feels really empty. It just doesn't feel like I'm not doing much.
What does a typical week look like?
Typical week, for us, it's just all planning. So we do a planning in a year advance. So I do my roster for food in year advance. So we have amazing sponsors that do food, that book us up 12 months prior. So for me, planning is very easy. It's just people, we're getting there, distributing the 600 meals. Sometimes, we might have a lot more people come through. And so we have to have option 2 as well. If we have a lot more people, how we can actually get them fed as well. We don't want anyone going empty stomach home.
Does that mean they pay for meals for 12 months? How does it work?
So some of the sponsors, they actually make hot meals, and some of the sponsors, they actually give us physical money. So basically, as a month comes, they actually deposit money into our account. It's not just we are supporting our homeless people, we're also supporting our local restaurant. We buy hot meals from them, and that way, with the COVID COVID time, a lot of the restaurants were struggling. So they're doing a special price for us, so making meals for $4 to $5. And these are restaurants that make like 5-star meals.
So you almost use the donor and sponsor money to then give back to the community by purchasing from the restaurants.
That's correct.
You said that you also prepare hampers for a lot of the beneficiaries, for a lot of people who receive your food. What is in a hamper?
Basic things like, non-perishables like oil, flour, rice, tuna, pasta. Instead of like, sometimes, we used to have other things in there. We did a survey what the people wanting. And so we put this together in a box. So it might cost about $50 to $60.
Since COVID has hit, has the demand for this changed, and has it become more challenging to meet that demand?
Yes, it's a struggle. Some weeks it's a struggle, but we get there. We have amazing donors, sponsors. I see. I made a lot of friends in my team. Like, I got over 700 contacts on my phone. So if I need anything, I make a call out and it happens straight away. So if a family is struggling, I can just do a call out and I can get the grocery pack straight away to them within half an hour.
So is that what you're known for? Like Ansary is the guy to go to solve people's problems?
That's correct, yeah. So I'm an after hours person. So anyone calls me, I don't let them go empty-handed.
Do you do this full time?
So this is just a side hobby for me.
For your day job?
I'm a sales manager.
I'm interested to learn more about how you mentor leaders. You said you invite youths to be a part of this program, especially youth who may not have anything going on at the moment, who may not have any sort of job. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So we have a youth that is going through hard times. So I'm actually heavily involved in the youth in our community. So I do youth nights every once a month. And what we do a PlayStation night where we can get the youth connected and they can be opened up. It's just basically boys at the moment. So they can open up and then we can actually get them into a branch where they can volunteer and they feel more connected, doing something for the community. And they feel, pressure, like, what do you call the word? Precious. So they feel connected. They're doing something for the community, not just, staying home, playing game or, sitting around, going out or so they're doing something that is valuable to the community and also feel connected.
And that must be very important, especially during a time like COVID when a lot of people feel isolated or have a loss of connection.
A lot of mental health problems in our community, on a wider community as well, especially our youth. Suicide rate is very high, especially the boys and the girls. And something that, with the COVID last 2 years, a lot of people lost jobs, sitting home, not doing much. And then, you have a lot of things going in your mind. So something that, we do is, bring them into giving back. And they actually see other people that are struggling. And then that's where they lift themselves up.
When you say your community, do you mean the neighborhood that you live in or the particular area that you live in?
Our core community is Brisbane. So Brisbane is my whole community.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. It's have you always lived in Brisbane?
Yeah, I lived in Brisbane 11 years, but
Nice.
I was brought up in New Zealand.
Okay.
And then before that, I was born in Fiji.
Oh, wow. So you made a few moves.
That's correct. Fiji, New Zealand, and then Australia.
What was that like moving from New Zealand to Australia?
It was a big difference. We left a lot of families there, my mom, my brother, and then my in-laws. So a lot of families back in New Zealand, back home.
Over these 8 years, you've been helping the community. What have you observed? Are things getting better or are things getting more difficult for people?
I think it's getting very difficult in time, like for our people. There's not enough. There are support out there, but there's not enough reach. People are not reaching out, or there's some kind of hesitance in the community, or hesitant people reaching out, or they're feeling shy, or they're feeling protective, not trusting our organizations. So I guess our organizations, they need to go out and win the trust of these people.
How do you do it? How does Merciful Servants win the trust of the people that it's helping?
I mean, we don't just give up meals and come home. We also interact with them. And we talk to them, how's your day? What have you been up to? So we get to know them. And then every week we build up a relationship with them in different ways. Some people open up, or I had this, some of the topics they bring up, and it's like, oh, what am I going to say next to these guys? And we can joke around. And
If someone comes to you and perhaps tells you that they have another problem, are you able to refer them to a partner organization?
so we have linking systems. So if someone comes in, we can't help them. We try to make sure they go on the right channel, and we actually be a buddy for them till they actually find the right channel.
Oh, that's really great. So it's not just a food relief service, it's really a community support service.
That's correct. Yeah. So we just try to find, we have a guy that I've been helping for last 3 or 4 weeks, try to get him to to find a job. And at the moment he's in a job place, so I haven't left him yet. So I actually give him a call every week and see how his progression is going. It's very important, our life changes, and also it motivates us to do more.
What is the challenge in doing work like this?
Sometimes, we face different problems, new people come in, and there's also an issue of sometimes maybe once in a year we'll get racial.
Are you just saying that there's a lack of understanding between different races?
Just sometimes, people come in and they say, "Oh, go back to your country." We ignore it. We just keep serving with a smile.
I guess you have faced it personally and you seem to have a very positive mindset. If it happens to a younger kid in your group, how do you kind of encourage them to get past that?
We just say, look at others, look at the comments for other people. We always talk about this before we start our homeless run. We have a little reminder why we are here, why we're doing this. We don't want any gratitude from the homeless people. We're here to serve, make them feel special, so they are feeling, positive. And we also say that, you might have one or two person that might come up and say rude things, might say bad thing that might offend you. So don't take it seriously. They might be having a bad day, or they might be, going through things that, that is not good for them. They might be taking it out on you. So don't take it seriously. Just smile and just say thank you, and just get them keep moving.
Do you do any sort of fundraising activity?
We do fundraising now and then. So whoever donates towards Merciful Servants, they actually get 100% used into the homeless projects, or we try to think of a project where we can actually make things better for one person or two person. So we come up with different ideas.
What projects are you running under Merciful Servants besides the food relief program?
We actually go and visit elderlies as well. Every quarter we go and visit elderlies, and they look forward to us. So we take our youth, and then we do interaction with them. We do a barbecue. We make meals for them, and it's a different sort of feeling again. And because our grandparents, they're back home, New Zealand, so it just feels like, we're connected with these.
It really sounds like you are involved with every aspect and age group in the community.
It is
Amazing.
different age, so starting from 13 to 60 or 80 years old.
What drives you?
I mean, it's just for me, seeing other people smile, that actually motivates me to do more.
That's amazing. Do you come from a culture where family is really important, like intergenerational families?
I do. Family is a very big part for me. It's always about families and friends. Our friends even. So every Friday we look forward to meeting our volunteers, because they're like a part of our family. And they all come from different, not just Muslims, they're Christian, Hindus. So we sit down, we go to a restaurant, we pick a restaurant, and we go out and eat together, or, get to know them, how the week was. So it's very personal.
Based on your own experience and what you've learned in your time doing this, what is your advice to someone who might want to start something similar in their own community?
I think get connected with the community first, and see the organizations around who are working in the similar project, so you don't double up. A lot of times, organizations are wanting to start up, and then they actually, so we're actually feeding the same place, and then someone else coming and doing the same thing, and then you can actually use the energy to do other places where there's no service out there. Instead of doubling up, we need to know where the gaps are in the suburbs, in the community.
If I wanted to start this in my community, what kind of meal should I be cooking as a start? Like, because food is such a I don't know, it's a cultural thing, it's a personal thing, but it's also sustenance.
Yeah.
What kind of meal did you cook?
So basically, just something with chicken and rice. I used to do chicken curry and rice, and then my friend used to do like a salad, halloumi, just a few other sauces with it. Not too spicy. Something that is eatable. Something that you would eat yourself.
If there was something you wanted someone to take away from this interview, what would it be?
Help your neighbours. Neighbours are very important as well. Check your neighbours if they are hungry. Also reaching out to your wider community, see if they're needing assistance. Volunteer yourself in the local organization. Give back is very important. Also, cleans our soul, cleans ourselves, and make us more humble.
In certain cultures, they say to worship any sort of higher being is to worship your neighbor, or to serve your neighbor. Is that what is the reason behind the name Merciful Servant? How did that name come about?
Merciful Servants is our chapter starting in Quran, something that we have to be merciful to others. And sevens is we are Allah's seventh, so basically we're the seventh of our people here, so we're here to serve you.
In your case, you're serving all of Brisbane.
That's correct, yes.
150 volunteers.
I come from a Muslim background. The religion should be last. Humanity should be the first one.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe or follow it on social media. Your support will help this podcast reach more listeners. You can also check out the podcast and transcripts on whatcanwedopodcast.com. This podcast is produced by Samuham Media.